Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us right now on iTunes, go ahead and leave a 5-star review if you like what you hear. Quick shout out to some of my stand-up dates. August 12th, I'm going to be headlining Bird and Betty's in Jersey Shore. That's in Beach Haven, New Jersey. And then I'm heading to New Orleans August 13th and 14th, headlining the Comedy House down there. Then I'll be in Vegas September 10th and 11th with Comedians of the Compound at the Comedy Works over there in the Plaza Hotel. And then I'll be in Texas September 17th and 18th, headlining Hyenas in Dallas there. Love going to Texas. Then October 16th, Lakewood, New Jersey with Comedians of the Compound. We'll be doing a stadium out there. And then October 22nd and 23rd, I'll be in Santa Monica, California, headlining the Broadway Comedy Club West. So I can't wait to see what's left of LA. It's going to be great. Quick shout out to my sponsor, Cushy Dreams. They are my go-to for all things CBD related. They specialize in high quality CBD in tins and also in pre-rolls. I personally like them because they're chic and handy, and this just fits in your pocket, and they're very like there's no mess, there's no muss, there's no fuss. Boom, take a couple pulls of this bad boy. My mind and body feel relaxed immediately. Looks, feels, smells just like wacky tobacco, but it's not. You can get all the health benefits of CBD without getting high. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. You can go to their website and see all of their lab results. They're constantly testing for compliance and purity. There's different indica sativa blends like Hustle, Relax, Create, Dream, Peace, Energy. So if you want to be a little bit more up, a little bit more relaxed, Cushy Dreams has your back. Go to their website, cushydreams.com. At the checkout, use promo code CMP to get 20% off every order. All right. Woo! So excited to have this comedian on today. I just bumped into him just a few days ago, and it was just a good reminder that I've to have him on. He's sometimes affectionately known as New Jersey's bad boy. I love that. I love that title. He's Italian. He's a comedian. He's everything you would ever dream of. It's Mike Marino.
Hey, thank you so much. What a great introduction. Thank you.
Oh my God. Of course. Anything for you. Look at this. Your guns are fully out. You're doing white boy summer right. Look at you.
White boy. I'm trying. I'm getting older, man. It's hard to get up and do any kind of exercising anymore.
It is. It's hard to find the the momentum. Like there's stuff here like in the house I could work out with. Every day I look at it, I'm just like, why? Like that's the one thing I miss is I guess gyms. Like I'm somebody who I need to pay someone to yell at me and then I can get things moving.
Yeah, sometimes having a trainer makes you think I paid for it, might as well go through it. Whereas here I have weights and everything in my house. I look at it and say, you know what? I'll work out tomorrow.
I know. And then like, guess what? There's always another tomorrow. So Mike, and these are probably just boring interviewee questions, but I really do want to know, like, how long have you been doing stand-up? How did you get into comedy? Sometimes I always like hearing, when people kind of fall into it, or maybe they had another kind of life plan. And stand-up comedy is never, I think, very few little kids you meet, I think, want to become a stand-up comic. So I just want
You're right.
Yeah.
No, I was an actor since I'm a child. I never wanted to be a stand-up comedian. When I was a little kid, I used to impersonate TV commercials. I would impersonate people in movies. I would rehearse my Oscar speech. When I was 12, 13 years old, I started going into New York City because I'm about 20 miles outside the city here in this town. And I started going on commercial auditions. And I had a very apple pie face, a blonde hair and blue eyes, and I would just say bubble gum. And I started making great money. I got in the Screen Actors Guild at a really, really early age. And then when I was like 18, 19, 20, I mean, I was doing 10, 15 national commercials a year. And then I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I wanted to be a theater actor, a thespian. It wasn't until I was like 28, 29 that people were telling me, you have a flair for comedy. You should probably go into comedy. And I remember being very upset about it because I didn't want to. I wanted to be a theater actor. I wanted to be a movie actor. But I started going to the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, and the owner, Mitzi Shore, at that time said, you got a great rhythm. Why don't you just keep doing it? And then you can actually create a career as a stand-up comedian rather than wait to go on auditions and hope that you get something. As a comedian, you can actually go on the road and you could tour and you could perform. And to me, I was an actor playing the role of a stand-up comedian.
I mean, that's pretty high praise to get Mitzi Shore of the Comedy Store to compliment you and say that you had potential. Was she seeing you at Mike's or showcases? Do you remember the first time you met her?
Yeah. I used to teach comedy traffic school in Los Angeles as a part-time job. They had comedians teach the class to make it funny. And I was teaching it at the Improv. And one night the accountant,
like traffic school, like when you go, like the classes you take to like pay less money on your car insurance.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. In California, if you get a speeding ticket, you go to the class for 8 hours and they remove the points from your license. And they devised a system where they would have the comedians teach the class, hoping to make it funny and interesting. And I taught at the Improv, and Mitzi Shore's accountant at that time, who worked at the club, came in and he said, why don't you come and meet Mitzi? So I went to audition for Mitzi Shore. At that time, I used to do impersonations, and I bombed and I didn't get in. Then she asked me to come back 3 months later, and she said, just talk like you. So I went on stage and I said, screw this and screw that and F this and F that and my mom, my family, and I'm never going to be a mobster. She said, okay, this is your voice. This is your home. You play here.
Wow. So did she say stop doing impressions, or was she
immediately?
Just like...
There's a lot of people who do impersonations as a startup thing to do as a stand-up comedian. Eventually, they will learn that not everybody knows who you're impersonating. You could impersonate people that are no longer alive, and it's not your personality. The audience is buying you, not who you impersonate. Wow. So eventually you give it away, you give it up.
Do you feel like it was kind of comedy was easier when you were starting out as opposed to now? Because what I've heard about the comedy cellar in New York City, it sounds like the opposite of what you're describing. I've heard from many people, it's like you get one shot with SD. If you blow it, they'll never see you again. They will literally never audition you again. It's not going to be like, yeah, come back in 3 months. I've heard people that have been passed at the cellar and then they get like quietly unpassed because they just, I don't know, can't maintain it, or they can't hack it, you know, in those first few. Most people, when they get passed right away at the cellar, they get like tons of spots up front, and I've heard so many stories of comics who just haven't made it through that sort of introductory period.
I don't know much about New York because I really cut my teeth as a comedian in California, and I would go on stage every night of the week for years, anywhere I could. So I was a regular at the Comedy Store and a regular at the Laugh Factory. And the Laugh Factory now would be my home club. I get carte blanche whenever I'm in town. I know I'm going to get some spots, and I play the Hollywood. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the best club in the country. So yeah, there's new guys that might start getting a lot of spots, but they might eventually not hold weight. And then there's the people who bring people, and they might not hold the weight. And then there's the people who can instantly make a video and they become viral sensations. Well, a couple hundred people on a Saturday night at $40 a ticket might not care that you're on the internet. They want you to hit them hard. And all the comedians that are on that stage are going to knock you out. So that could be another reason why they eventually don't get spots. But I mean, I never met this woman and I never performed at that club. I probably could try. I mean, I play Gotham. I play Broadway Comedy Club. I used to do stand-up New York. I used to do Caroline's. But when you get to headline and you're touring the country and you're doing 2,000 seat theater on the weekend. Eventually, you're not going to go into the city for 15 minutes for a couple of bucks to impress who? I don't, you
It's
got to move
so
on.
true. It's so true. And it's very glamorized, like this idea when you first start comedy. Even when you're like 10 years in, I've seen comics just like they will not expand the rest of their career because they are just like dead set on either being passed at most or every club in the city, or they have to get passed at the Comedy Cellar. They will be like obsessed singularly on that goal to the point where it's like, I just feel like it's so much harder to make a living off of just doing city spots. Even before the pandemic, like you'd have to be doing like 9 a night to even
You probably can't
try.
earn a living that way. I mean, not a real sizable living. A couple years before the pandemic, maybe even 5 or 6 years before that, I really don't know. But I started to hit some big numbers. And if you could do a Friday, Saturday night, and you're raking in a large amount of money Monday through Thursday, I'm not leaving my house.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting what happens now with these mandates in New York City that they're hoping to push through for next month, for September. I think it's a really bad idea. I think New York City is already like struggling to come back, sort of like culturally and kind of entertainment wise. I think a lot of people have fled. I think a lot of money has just left the city. And I think the last thing they need to be doing is taking out another big percentage of potential customers just to like be, you know what I mean? Like it's not even about safety. I think it's very much about control. But what do you think will be kind of like the future of cities like maybe New York or LA if they push through these mandates?
I really don't know. I mean, I saw, of course, what you saw in the news, and I feel sorry for Broadway more than anything. They showed the other night the first Broadway play went up, and they had a big crowd, and the people are all back. I think what people need to understand is the trickle down of people who are losing. It's not just the actors. We all think, oh God, the actors in the play. Oh yeah, what about the guy who pulls the rope? What about the guy who operates the camera? What about the guy who operates the popcorn machine? The people who seat people, the hot dogs and the pretzels on the street, the cabs. Everybody loses. Now, I had just done the NJ Pack Center for Performing Arts in Newark, New Jersey.
That's a great venue.
It's one of the greatest venues in New Jersey. And I had done it 4 times. When I got to do it the first time, I sold out 2 shows, 500 seats. Came back again, 2 shows, 500 seats. Well, I was just back. I'm only allowed to have 150 people. And then I found out 2 days before the show, you had to be vaccinated, proof of vaccination, or show proof of a COVID test within 72 hours. Well, I have a walk-up draw. Most of my fans make a last-minute decision and go, let's go get a ticket now. Well, they got turned away.
Wow.
They couldn't come in.
Your fans are procrastinators.
I don't know what it is. They're going to give me a heart attack because when you think, oh my God, I didn't sell enough tickets, and then they show up. I did the Count Basie one summer. 300 people showed up. 300. That's insane.
Yeah, that's huge.
And you're waiting in the green room going, oh God, please, please. But I already sold 1,000 seats. So the 300 is the joy.
Wow.
So instead of selling more than 150 tickets, came in around 130 because the 20 people could not get in. And then you feel like, oh my God, is it my fault? But it's not. It's the pandemic.
Yeah. How many months were you kind of out of commission? How big of a loss did you take? How did the pandemic change how you perform and the form
Well,
of
in
it?
March, when the pandemic supposedly hit, I don't even remember what year. But
just 2 weeks ago, don't you remember? Yeah.
I didn't work for like 3 or 4 months. And then like everybody else, I started doing Zoom comedy shows, which I hated.
They're the worst. They're soul sucking.
They did the Zoom thing.
They make you question your whole life. It's like, that's the way to get comics to quit, is make them do Zoom shows.
Yeah, because you can't hear anybody, you can't see anybody. It's just really nasty. And then I started doing you go to the club and you do it in the club and there's nobody sitting there and you look at the big TV. And I hope that all goes away because people need to realize there's no fun here, not just for the entertainer. People at home are not having any fun. You have fun when you're around the other people and you're banging in the people and you're having your drinks.
Feeling the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spilling your drinks, getting your friends drunk.
Yeah, well, hey, that's comedy. You know, it's great to perform in clubs. I ended up doing a lot of Florida because Florida was, I guess, open at 100%. Nobody was saying anything. And then I tried to stay with the times. I developed selling masks that said "Make America Italian Again."
That's great.
I try to sell some swag. You do anything to keep ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Is that some of your swag right now that you're wearing?
Yeah, they say New Jersey's bad boy. And on the back, it says "Make America Italian Again," which was a play on Trump. And we turned it into a web series, me and my comedian friends. And we did a whole series called Marino 2016, which was the joke that I was running for president. And my cabinet was a bunch of wise guys, but we were just dummies, quite honestly.
Who did you do it with? Who were the other comics?
In California, I'm friends with Marco Asante, who's Armand Asante's cousin. And he's a great stand-up comedian. And he plays like my second in command. And there's Angelo Sarukis, who's from Canada. He's Greek. A lot of different guys. Jay Davis, who's actually the talent coordinator and stand-up comedian of the Laugh Factory in Hollywood.
Oh, cool. And
we were performing. So at night we would do the show, and then during the day we would film some skits. I had a Robert De Niro impersonator. I had a Trump impersonator. We did like a debate, me and him. Oh, we were having massive amounts of fans watch these clips on YouTube.
Oh, awesome.
It was great. It was stupid. Like we would do things like we're going to look for Osama bin Laden. So we went to the desert. Turns out that we were at the Luxor in Vegas.
Yeah.
Stupid.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Does the shirt that you wear, do the shirts come with the sleeves cut off already? Or did you cut them off yourself? Because that would be a very Italian move to just.
No, you know what happened? People order them and they say, "Can I customize it?" And I say, "Sure, no problem." For an extra $5, I cut them off.
Yeah. Especially handcrafted, hand cut by yours truly.
People were sending me shirts in their own decoration. I can show you them. Somebody made me a mask. Can I grab it?
Yes, please. I want to see all your stuff.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. That's great. I love when fans make stuff for you. I love fan art. Wow. Looks like you're
Make America Italian Again. Look at that mask. Is that nuts?
Looks like you're
and it's made by this lady here.
Ooh.
Oh, no, no, it's me.
That's you.
Stitched denim.
Okay.
It's crazy, and it's nice to have fans that do creative stuff.
I love it. I love when they draw pictures, even unflattering ones. Like I have this one guy, I think his name is Evil Sam. Like he'll take a picture, like a photograph of like you and other people, and he'll just like use like computer graphics, or he'll make everybody look horrible. But I'm still like, "Aw, he thought of me," Like I have 12 chins, but at least he was thinking of me. Mike, did you ever have a point where you were starting to feel like pretty hopeless, or did you, with stand up and performing and like the opportunities, or did you feel like you did a decent job of like pivoting, adjusting, with what was happening with COVID?
No, I still worry like everybody else. I was doing cruise ships too, and I had a deal with Royal Caribbean where I went on a ship once a month.
Wow.
For 10 years. I was doing the ship once a month, and that's like a guarantee that you're going to make your living for the year, even if you didn't do anything else. And the ship stopped completely. And about a few months ago, cruise ship agent said, "Do you want to go on for 8 months?" And I'm like, "I can't do it. I just can't do it." I would be like disappearing, be like going to jail. And then 2 days ago, they said, okay, so here's a new deal. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off for 8 weeks. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's not bad.
Oh my God. Well, I have some shows in between and on those dates. So it would kind of screw you up a little bit.
Okay.
So if you travel on a Saturday, that's where you could be making most of your money, on a Saturday night somewhere.
True. Oh man. What's it like performing on a cruise ship? That's like was always on my bucket list. It's like I hope maybe I'll get to go on like a budget one. I think probably cruise ships are struggling right now to
they are.
People to get.
You can get a deal like you have no idea, but there's many different ships within one fleet. So let's say you work for Royal Caribbean and they have 30 different ships. There's 30 different performance styles. There are some ships that are so big, they put on a play like Cats or Chicago in front of 2,000 people. At the other end of the ship is Ice Capades.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of the ship is a comedy club that seats 150 people. You go into the club, you do 2 shows a night for 7 nights. It's like doing a 25-minute set anywhere you want. But then there's ships that you have to perform in the theater, and then the theater is, 1,500 seats. You're doing an HBO special, and it's all you. Some ships are very specific. You have to be really, really clean. And then some ships will let you do a midnight show. You do whatever you want. So quite honestly, what I would do is when I would go on a ship, I'd get everybody's email address and I'd give everybody a postcard.
That's so
and
smart.
I'd say, when I tour in your neighborhood, come and see me.
So smart.
And I'll show you a different show. So if I was to go to NJ Pack, people would come in and say, I saw him on Royal Caribbean. And then you grow your fan base that way. There's another way of doing it other than YouTube and Facebook. And I stay in touch with everybody as much as I can. So you learn a different art form of stand-up. You really got to be careful. You could have a 10-year-old kid in the audience, a 5-year-old kid. But if you learn how to deal with it.
You mean like on the cruise ships, you're more likely to encounter like a kid just like right in the front row?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yup. I have a video of a 7-year-old girl heckling me. But she was adorable and she was so sweet, and her giggle was just infectious. So I said, would you like to come on stage and see what it's like to stand in front of an audience like this? And the girl did. She came on stage and she sat next to me and I said, do you want to tell everybody a joke? And she said, no. I'm like, come on, don't worry about it. You whispered a joke in my ear and I'll tell the audience the joke.
Aww.
So naturally, when she leaned into my ear, I looked at the audience and said, 3 drunk guys walked into a strip club.
That's funny.
And they were screaming.
That's great. Oh, man. Had you done that before? Or did that just come to you in the moment?
It came to me in the moment, but it's not like it's something you wouldn't know how to do. You got to do something.
That's great.
And the kid was so adorable.
Funny. I've never heard of anyone doing that, because comics, usually when there's a kid in the show, the most popular reaction from a comic is you just get weird, and maybe there are some code words, and then there's oh, you're gonna learn a few things tonight, but that's really clever what you did.
Yeah, well, I put it on Instagram and it got some good hits, and it's fun to see the little kid laughing.
Wait, what was the rest of the joke? What was the rest of the joke? So you said 3 guys walk into a bar.
Yeah, that's all I did.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do the rest of the joke. You don't need to.
Yeah, and you could always be like, "Oh, yeah, she said never mind, it's too dirty." There's so many different ways you can play with that. That's so cute. I bet her family appreciated how you handled that.
Yeah, they videotaped the whole thing. They put it up on YouTube, and then you sell them shirts.
Yeah, and you'd be like, "I'll cut the sleeves off for free.
I'll cut the sleeve off for you."
Yeah. Wow, that's really neat. Are cruise ships just is everybody just drunk and hooking up all the time? That's what I imagine. I imagine it's just I don't know, people hooking up with the crew, and it's just I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining a gay cruise, but that's just what I feel like happens.
You're watching too many movies. Most of these ships are couples, senior citizens.
So they're definitely banging.
People who are getting married. families on vacation with their kids. There are some ships that are really so big that there's an amusement park on the ship, a full-blown amusement park. You could ride in bumper cars, ride a Ferris wheel, go on the water slide. I mean, that's how big it is. You never even have to get off.
It's like a city. Yeah.
It's a city.
What do you do when you're on a cruise ship, but in between shows?
You could do whatever the passengers do. You get a nice room. I don't have to stay on the boat. I can get off in the ports. I've been all around the world. You can go to Labadee, Haiti, and you get off and you go experience Haiti. You can hang around with passengers, stay away from passengers, whatever you want. I mean, you have to pretty much be a normal entertainer, because if you do hang around with the people and they like your show, well, they're going to want to talk to you. If you walk away, somebody's going to get mad. You don't have to. I always do.
You always like to hang out with the people afterwards? Of
course, yes. Yeah, this is what we live for the recognition. There's somebody to come over to you and say, hey, I like what you do. And then you're going to get somebody who's going to say, I don't like what you do.
And it's mostly, it's like a connection, right? Like if you can unite a room full of strangers, like to all laugh at the same thing in the same moment, like that's pretty magical. And when people come up to you after the show and show their appreciation, like it's really meaningful. And I think that's something that's a big side effect of all these lockdowns, is like lack of human connection, like lack of humanity, not just like connecting between comic and audience, but the audience with other audience members. You know, I've seen people make friends like with people at the next table over. It's pretty amazing, like what can happen at comedy shows.
You're absolutely 100% right. You actually help bond other people who never would have said hello to each other. They identify somehow. They'll even say, well, where are you from? How do you know him? Oh, I've seen him before. Every morning I do a thing on my Instagram called The Morning Walk with Mike. And it got
Morning Wood?
Morning Walk.
Oh, okay. Woo! All right. Where's my mind? That Morning Walk. That's nice.
Morning Wood.
Okay. Morning Wood with Mike. That's earlier in the morning. That's That's right.
That's the night before.
Right when, yeah.
Morning Walk with Mike, and I just was trying to exercise, and I walk as fast as I can. I can't run anymore. It hurts my knees. So I put on my camera and I did the morning walk on Instagram, and whoever writes into the show, to the feed, I'll say why I'm doing what I'm doing. People now write to each other and they say, good morning, Joe. Good morning, Pam. Good morning, Frank. And they're all talking to each other. In the beginning, I felt left out. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. You should be talking to me. But they talk to each other and they all get together and come see a show. And they're from different states. So it's really that's a great feeling to me. And this morning, I started off showing people how I was defrosting a 1950s refrigerator.
Ooh.
That belongs to my grandmother. And people were cracking up. They're like, man, this guy really is telling the truth. And I go, well, yeah, it's a real refrigerator. And this is what they did. You had to unplug it and just let it drip, and it makes a big mess. So some girl wrote and she said, I remember my grandmother's refrigerator. Thank you for sharing. You remind me of the way things used to be. And people like to see that.
Yeah, nostalgia is big. It's why when we see like Disney taking, our classic, whether it's like Avengers or like Star Wars or whatever, or like Ghostbusters, even like taking something from the past that we love, a story that we love, and changing it and like wokeifying it or like kind of ruining it. People get so angry. Like there's nothing wrong with enjoying the way things used to be. In a lot of ways, like things used to be better back in the day. And it's interesting because so much of comedy, it's like this delicate balance between like love for others and like ego, right? Like a lot of us need like the validation and like love the compliments and like get a self-esteem boost from it. But it's like you said, if you can create like kind of social networks from it, because if someone's laughing at you, like odds are they're going to have probably a lot in common with somebody else who finds you funny. So that's a really cool way that you can kind of add to the world.
And there's always somebody that's going to come up to you after a show and say, hey, man, I could tell you this joke and you could use it.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. People always have jokes for you to use. You can use this in your bit, in your skit. Yeah.
You could have this. I'm like, well, it actually belonged to somebody else.
You're like, that is this comic's joke, or that is the oldest, an old like road joke, or what's it called when it's like not a road joke, but like a street joke. Yeah. When it's just something.
I think we used to call them a party joke. It belongs to anyone.
Yeah.
It's a party joke or a joke, and anybody could use it.
Yeah, what people don't like, it's precious when people say that to me, but what people don't understand, it's like it's not gonna come across genuine if I like tell somebody else's joke. Like a big part of comedy is like, yeah, it's your own lived experience, and if it's a funny story that happened to somebody else, like how am I gonna sell it? Like I didn't live through it. It's like, you know, get that.
Sorry about that.
Who is it?
My manager.
Oh, excuse me. Humble brag. This is my manager calling. Oh, whoops. Okay, I don't have one. I'm fired. All right.
It's all the same thing, man. You know who the best managers are? Comedians.
True.
Comedians can get each other work 10 times faster than anybody.
You were telling me, because I bumped into you a couple days ago at Villa Roma, which is an all Italian. It used to be way more Italian, but it's like an Italian, I guess like resort up in the Catskills area. How long have you been performing out there for?
The agent who performs there is an agency that's been around for probably 50 years. It's called the Rap Agency, and I've been going out there for probably 10 years.
What do you think? How would you kind of like?
Huh?
It's your other agent. How would you describe the audiences up there versus like, other places that you perform?
Well, the Villa Roma changes their audience every week because people go up there for the week. So they have a theater up there, and the theater looks like you're in The Shining. It's creepy.
Yeah, they used to be for years. It was like red carpeting, wall to wall.
Still
I think
is.
they just took it down, but I think it still is like pretty red in that
It's
room.
creepy.
Still,
red velvet. Creepy. Nothing has changed.
Mm-hmm.
There's spider webs everywhere, but it's definitely a theater from way back in the day.
Yeah.
And this last show that I did, they brought kids. Two families brought 5, 6, 7-year-old kids and sat in the front. Now, there's a sign that says you have to be 18 and older to see this show. It's a 10 o'clock show. So this is not a cruise ship now, and I have to make a decision because I'm going to get people who are going to be angry at me if I do adult humor in front of the children. So I just say, hey, I see that you and your family decided bringing these children to the front row of this theater was a good idea in your mind. Mm-hmm. But actually, it's not. You see, what's going on here is I'm a comedian and I do an R-rated show. And if these kids sit in the front, I'm going to feel really bad when I start doing some dirty jokes. So here's an opportunity for you to take your children either back to your room or to the back of the theater.
Wow.
And when they don't, I go, okay, no problem. And then I just start doing the dirtiest jokes I've ever done.
Whoa, that's bold, Mike. I love that. You're like, I'm going to watch.
You warned them.
Yeah.
I said, hey, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And then there was a crowd of teenagers who were going to try to talk to me while I'm performing because they don't know any better. And I school the shit out of them too.
They're helping the show. You scare the shit out of them, really? The teenagers?
School.
Oh, you school them. How do you deal? I've never had like a teenage heckler. So like, and we know teenagers think they know everything. So like, how do you deal with a teenager heckling you?
I usually say something like, if you talk to me, I'm going to spank you the way your parents should have when you were a little asshole.
And then, of course, the parents are probably
sitting in the back.
Yeah.
Petrified.
Right, because the teenagers like to separate, like sit away from their parents because they're too cool. It's like they're too cool to like associate with their own parents. And they're like, parents are like, we're paying for everything.
If you do it right, they'll become your friend. And they'll leave you alone, and they'll want an autograph when the show's over. In fact, one kid was commenting on another shirt that I wear. It says Marino 2024.
You're running again?
And the kid goes, your shirt says your name. And I go, yeah, it does. And he goes, "We know your name." And I says, "Well, here's what I'm doing, teenager. I'm going to wear this shirt that says Marino 2024 in front of everybody for 1 hour. And then when I'm done, you're going to see that I'm selling the identical shirt in the back of the room. It's called advertising."
Wow.
And then the kid goes, "Oh, wow, it's a great idea."
Or so you don't forget my name, you idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's neat. Do you have kids, Mike?
No, I don't have any kids. I've never been married. I have no children.
He's available, ladies.
Huh?
Yes. I said he's available, ladies.
Anybody watching? I'm available.
Oh, for sure. I have had, Mike, don't be surprised. I've had ladies like in my DMs, like after my mom died, I was like, my dad's single, his girlfriend, broke up with him. Like I can make some stuff happen. I've made things happen for people.
Well, a lot of people think because I'm in the entertainment business, that would be the reason why I never got married, and it's not. In my 20s and 30s, I was with girls that I thought we were going to get married. They decided they wanted to marry somebody else. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and most of the people I met were in the industry, and I wasn't really going to go that route.
It's so smart. It's so smart. Like I always use the example of like when people are like, "Oh, do you think that comics shouldn't date other comics?" It's like it's ideally, yeah, like you want to avoid it because it gets to be like a battle of egos a lot of the times. Like someone's always going to be doing better than the other person, and there's going to be feelings about it. But also, it's like, it's like you would tell like homeless people in a shelter, like, you know what, don't bang the other homeless people, like try, but you can't help it because this is who you're around.
Well, my ex-girlfriend was a comedian, and I was getting her a lot of work.
No, really?
And
somebody I know?
Huh?
Somebody I know?
No, I wouldn't even mention the name.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't pursue it anymore anyway.
Oh, okay.
But I was getting her work, and we were doing, she would open for me, and she was a lot newer to the business than me. But I thought she was great, and it's a great opportunity to be the person you want to be with.
That is great. You really hooked her up.
Yeah, but her problem was she was so insecure that she was thinking that I was flirting with other girls. And I was like, I could care less about these other people. I just want to make some money and get the hell out of here. I'm with you. And I was like, why would you even think that? You're here.
Comedians
and
can
it
be so
became torturous.
I dated a guy, stand-up comic, same exact thing, Mike, was convinced that every guy was flirting with me, that I was flirting with every guy, that I was like, at any moment, I could, would, or did cheat on him. It was like really exhausting. And some people, and yeah, I guess it makes sense. Like there's probably more stand-up comics that are like a little more insecure, a little bit more needing validation. And of course that's going to like spill out into their personal life.
It was really brutal at times too, because I would introduce her to casting directors. I would introduce her to managers. I introduced her to a model's agent once because she was gorgeous.
Wow.
And she said to me, she always wondered, how did I know these people? I'm like, well, I'm doing this since I'm a kid. And she goes, okay, well, how do you know an agent that handles models? I'm like, well, I hosted a beauty pageant, and I stayed in touch with the agent who handles the models. And she goes, well, why would you stay in touch with an agent who handles models? You're not a model. And I go, because this is the business, and this is what you do. You stay in touch with thousands of people
you never
who
know.
get one job.
Mm-hmm.
And that modeling agency actually got her work.
Wow.
And I used to say, that's great. Go, have fun.
Did she give you a percentage? She should have.
I didn't want anything. I want you to succeed. Go, go, go. If you said to me, hey, I saw you playing that place and I would like that guy's information, I'd say, well, here's the information. Write him a letter, show him your work, use my name. Bingo. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Did you ever?
So I had the power to say to people, look, she's coming. She's in the show.
Wow.
And that was it.
That's pretty cool. Did you ever feel like resentful, like she didn't appreciate everything you did for her?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Because eventually you're like, hey, wait a minute. Come on. Who else is going to do this? How fast you're cutting the line? I got people saying to me, how'd you do that? I'm like, this is my girlfriend.
And then you get shit for it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take the heat.
I think the guy that I dated literally like operated the complete opposite way. I think he never wanted anyone to like assume that he was like hooking me up with opportunities, so he just like never did. Like he would introduce me to people as like his girlfriend. He wouldn't just be like, "This is also a stand-up comic." So for a while, like as I kept going in comedy, people would be like, "Oh yeah, I just thought you were like the guy, this guy's girlfriend. I didn't think you did comedy." And I'm like, "Great." So, but that sucks though, because I'm sure you did that for a while, just introducing her to people, giving her tons of opportunities that would have taken her years, if not maybe never, to have
5
gotten.
years.
Yeah.
I got her on stage at the Laugh Factory in Vegas. I'm like, this is unheard of. Now get your picture taken, do the jokes, and let's get out of here. Come on, you know. And then it was like, why did you look at that girl? I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh man.
Well, I don't know anybody here. Oh, everybody's wanting to talk to you. Everybody's look. I'm like, yeah, do you see what I do?
Are you kidding me, Mike? If that was me and you were dating me, I'd be like, Mike, go ahead, finger 4 waitresses. Like you literally got me a spot at the Laugh Factory. Like go nuts. Literally here. Let's go into the women's room. Have fun. I would be like,
No, I was
okay,
never
I'll
doing
leave one.
anything. I didn't want to do anything. I was committed.
I would have let you at least finger at least one person. Uncle Bones with a super chat. Believe it, Mike. Chrissy even got me a girlfriend. Really, Uncle Bones? Are you kidding? Wow. See, I don't know. I think I have a talent for this. I've introduced 2 people together who ultimately were married. So I don't know. I think comedy doesn't work out. Maybe I'll be a matchmaker.
Well, go ahead, break it out. I don't go on dating services. I've never done any of that stuff because somebody's going to say, hey, do I know you?
Mhm. Well, that sucks. I mean, there's always Grinder. No, I'm just kidding. That's the gay Tinder.
I don't even know what that is.
That's good. That's good. that's the gay Tinder. Yeah, that's frustrating because do you feel like you would be more inclined to meet somebody who, if not in the business, like a civilian, as we call them?
Probably would be better to meet a civilian. So
Yeah.
you don't have that, that jealousy thing.
Yeah. What
I
is
don't
it
know,
with?
but could you imagine that you were with someone who entertains on cruise ships and you're on a cruise ship with the other entertainer and you get the same rooms and you hang out? I don't know. It's hard to say.
Have you ever had any kind of like close calls when you've worked the cruise ships, like people hitting on you or like fans, like coming up to you? Because I know men in stand-up comedy can totally clean up if they want to. Did you ever have times where like a lot of like just girls waiting after your show with their mouths open kind of thing?
How many people are watching this show?
Not a lot. Just a couple.
On the ships, no, never. It's not worth it. You get fired, you're not getting back on any ship.
If you hook up with anybody, you're not allowed?
Not on a ship, no. You're
Wow.
not. After shows, theater shows, of course.
Man, you
When
guys
I
are
was in a
so
relationship, I didn't do anything. But when you're not in a relationship, yeah, people are watching you. You're the bartender.
Yeah.
So, you could meet somebody that you like a lot after a show. Might not just be a one night stand.
Did you ever like date any fans?
I don't know if I ever really dated anybody that was a fan because they're eventually going to find out that I'm not the stage persona guy. It's 2 different people. This is Michael Marino. On stage is New Jersey's bad boy. Hey, how you doing? So I can't keep that up too long. It gets exhausting.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't realize is, and I feel like the same for myself. Like what's on stage is like a very heightened, exaggerated version of me. It's like peak Chrissy-ness, like party Chrissy, all the best, most fun moments of my life, and then I'm heightened. Everything is like cranked up a few notches because it's like you are the party, like you are responsible for everybody's good time. So it's like you got to bring it 150%. Even when you're not feeling it, it's like you have to sometimes like force yourself into a good mood because it's like you're kind of responsible for everybody's night. And exactly, it's like you're not the same person on stage as you are off stage.
Yes, I don't know what the word is, but you're on stage, your persona becomes amplified. I'm New Jersey amplified, Italian amplified, ×2.
Where in New Jersey are you from?
I was born in Jersey City. Right now I live in Scotch Plains. This is my house. This is my office.
Ladies.
I
he has
steal
a
my own
house.
marquees.
Yes, you have to. You got to frame that stuff.
I frame so much crap, it ain't even funny.
Look at this. I framed, okay, I was in one article. I was in the Westchester Examiner. That's me. I think this is when I got my show on Compound Media. And yeah, it's ready in case I have a wall someday that I like and I want to commit. I can hang it up.
That's great.
That's about it. That's all I have. Yeah, it's fun. It took me a while to start like framing stuff. Everything I would do, I would be like, whatever. I would just like not think it was frame worthy.
Well, this house has a basement where we all grew up, and I developed my podcast called Live from My Mother's Basement. I film every Tuesday night, but I do it in person, so you would have to come over. We sit next to each other at a bar. It's fully loaded, and I have it catered. So I'd love to have you come on my show.
I'd love to do that. That sounds like a blast.
It's crazy. And my 200th episode is going to be in like 4 weeks. I'm going to have a little party, and I'm going to fly back to California.
And then can I be on Morning Wood? Just kidding. No. We could do our own little. Nope. Okay.
You could be on the Morning Wood.
The first ever Morning Wood with Chrissie. That sounds cool. Yeah. What else is coming up for you? Any like dates to plug?
Yeah.
No cruise ships right now. But
no, probably won't happen until next year.
Okay.
But all this month, I have about 6 more shows in New York and New Jersey, some really big theaters. Anybody can go to mikemarino.net and you can see where they are. And September is all California. The beginning of October is more California. And then on to New York, New Jersey, Florida. And we'll see where we go from there. But everything is listed on my website at mikemarino.net.
Do you make fun of a lot of like New Jersey things in your set? Or do you find like, do you have to change that slightly? Because not everybody, do you feel like crowds kind of understand the New Jersey stereotypes when you're out of state?
More than anything, because the world has an affection for wise asses from New Jersey, especially Italians. And there's nothing you could do about it. And I always knew it was going to be that way. So if I go to Kentucky or Kansas or Texas, they go absolutely crazy. I just did 10 shows in Dubai.
What?
And when I went to Dubai,
Whoa.
Yeah. See, there's another connection I can like give to you.
Chocolate fountains everywhere. I just imagine everyone there is like, just like money, 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 gold statues everywhere.
Well, there's no crime. Everything is clean. There's no dirt. Everything looks brand new. Wow. 5-star and 7-star hotels. And we were treated like gold. And the audience is international and everybody speaks English. So I got on stage one night and things are very expensive. And I bought a Coca-Cola at a bar. And I think the guy said it was like $10 in American money. So when I went on stage, I said to everybody, I'm Italian. I'm from New Jersey. I just spent $10 on a Coca-Cola. I'm stealing something from your hotel. And the place went wild.
Wow.
And you could see them look at each other like, oh my God, he's one of them. Mm-hmm. He's one of them. He's real. And then you just continue with that attitude. So they want to be like you. They want to act like you. They want to go hang out with you.
Wow. That's really neat because I would feel like if I had to go to Dubai or like somewhere really, I mean, UK, I feel like, all right, you could be kind of who you are, more or less, like it's English speaking. I don't know. Maybe just haven't really been out of the country too much, but I would feel like, wow, I'd have to kind of like change or alter my set in Dubai. Like, are they super religious? Are they like very conservative? You know, can I not wear a skirt?
They warn you what you can and cannot do. And they wanted us to go full blown, whatever you want.
Wow.
And there were some people who came into the showrooms in the burqas, and there were these 4 girls, and they had the black burqa on, and all you saw was their eyes. But then you see that they're wearing sneakers, and the sneakers were Nike or Adidas. That's American. So they know why they're there, and they know what they're doing. So when I saw them, I says, hey, I appreciate you coming out and dressed like that. I know a couple girls in New Jersey I wish were dressed like that. And the place is
That's funny.
Yeah, right. And then you get a lot of people from England, Barcelona, Ireland, and they all have these great accents. And then they try to impersonate me.
And I bet it doesn't go over too well.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, it's somebody putting on, like an Irish person putting on a New Jersey accent, I'm sure sounds hilarious. So wait, Mike, these girls, you think they were American, like on vacation in Dubai, but then just wearing the like the whole getup just so they wouldn't get like harassed or something?
No, there were no American people in the audience, that's for sure. They were mostly
because it's like super rich, right?
Well, I don't know about that. But everybody did seem to have a Lamborghini.
Yeah. I think
it's crazy.
That's probably, they were like, say whatever you want. Like, we're super rich. Like, no one's gonna complain. Like, we'll skate by the authorities. That's what it sounds like. Damn.
People from the United Kingdom, they have these weird sense of humors, and they like to talk to you and hang out. It was really cool. And I met some locals, and everybody's Americanized. We should be like them. They know how to make it rain. They make it rain.
I mean, we could do that if we get a roll of singles and go to a strip club. You know, we could make it rain. No,
I don't think they have strip clubs out there.
Strip clubs is probably just like girls showing their ankles. And you're like, holy shit, look at this.
But they really do have this thing, because it's the desert and it never rains. They do something to the clouds with some kind of a chemical, and it makes it rain.
Oh, they literally make it rain. Oh, okay.
Oh, yes. They make it rain.
Wow.
I was watching the news tonight, and they were saying all about these forest fires in California, and you feel like going, call Dubai. They know how to make it rain.
Yeah, get a Dubai over here.
It's not even a joke. You can Google it.
There's what? Oh yeah, I know that there's weather machines. I have friends who could talk for a long time about people who control weather. Who, as far as like all the international audiences you've performed in front of, do you find like people from certain countries are like make for better comedy audiences, or that certain people from certain countries appreciate comedy more? Because I see like I notice a lot, like I have like a bunch of Australian fans, and I'm like, I wonder if like certain countries just appreciate comedy more.
Canada people, they love comedy, boy. Toronto, Montreal Comedy Festival. I used to go there a lot. I hope I get to go again. But Canadians love stand-up comedy. It doesn't feel like they're a different country because they look like us and they act like us, but it is another country.
But you can sniff them out. Just ask them to say the word about. Yeah, even Canadian comedians leave Canada to come to America to do comedy. Like
very successfully too.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then there's different states that appreciate it more. New Jersey loves comedy, of course, New York, Chicago, Boston.
Yeah. Interesting. That's cool. I love Jersey. I'm getting like more and more stuff over there, and I love the audiences. It's just that people feel, I don't know, like real, like they seem less pretentious than New York for some reason.
How far are you from New Jersey?
Maybe like 40 minutes.
Okay.
Not bad. Yeah, just over the old Tappan Zee.
Okay, so then you need to come and do my show.
Yes.
We'll feed you. You get to hang out with a bunch of different people watching the show. I used to have a studio audience. I don't know. I hope I get to bring it back again. I had a band, everything.
We could promote it. We could like draw our own studio audience for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's make it happen.
Okay. I'm excited. Awesome. Mike, where can people find you, follow you? Got any social medias to plug?
All my social media is at Mike Marino Live. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Spotify, iTunes.
All the
All of them.
places. Awesome. Any like albums out that people can buy, or they should just come to a live show? Oh, look at all those. Oh my goodness. Hello, Daddy.
Yeah,
Albums
nobody even
ahoy.
distributes albums anymore.
True.
So I would say go to my website. I have one that I sell myself. It's live from the Borgata in Atlantic City. You
Ooh.
can rent it on Amazon, but it's better you just buy it from me. It's only $10 and you have it for the rest of your life.
Worth it. If you laugh 10 times, it's worth it.
Hopefully, yeah. And if you don't like it, you could throw it at somebody.
Yeah, use it as a coaster. Why not? There you go.
Yeah.
Mike Marino, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You are a
Thank
joy
you.
and a delight to talk to. Everybody follow Mike. And yeah, stay tuned for our show together. I'm really looking forward to that.
I will write to you and you let me know what date works for you, okay?
Okay, cool. And the chat is asking what your YouTube channel is called. Is it just Mike Marino as well?
Mike Marino Live.
Mike Marino Live. Cool. Thank you, Mike. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.